Whew. What's going on out there, YouTube? This is SCL0320 representing JVS. So I'm back here again for another review. This is a review of a Netflix original feature film, Mudbound. I've actually been waiting to see this for a while, but I wanted to see it with my wife. My wife's birthday today. Shout out to you, Alicia. Love you, honey. The movie centers around two men who come back from the war, World War II. The thing about the movie that they do really well is the feeling of uncertainty and anxiety. From the standpoint that you got two different families, and a whole lot of individual story arcs that are happening, but they interweave so beautifully that it's like, by the end of it, it's like, to me, everybody's covered in mud. I guess that's the best way of an analogy to put it, because in the very beginning of the movie, you see two brothers, and you notice that somebody's dead in a coffin. They're trying to dig a grave for it, but you don't understand any kind of context as to why, how. All you know is that they asked this passing by black family for help to get the coffin into the mud. And you're like, what is going on? I thought that was where the movie began, but for instance, this is actually towards the end. And by the end of the film, man, like, I was like, this is one of the better post and pre World War II African American based stories that I've seen in a long time. Then again, I have not seen 12 Years a Slave. I haven't seen a couple others, but like, I've seen classics. I've seen Malcolm X. Of course, I've seen Roots. I've seen a lot of different, really well established African American foundational based films. And I think that this is one of the most interesting representations, because the African American family that Mary J. Blige and Rob Morgan are the father and the mother of. They're not slaves, okay? They are trying to work off the land so they can have their own. And they have 3 children, and then one that went to the war. And the one that went to the war is Jason Mitchell's. If you know, you've seen Straight Outta Compton, Easy, he plays Ronzel Jackson. And the reality is, they're just trying to go ahead and make it. And then you got the other side, which is the other family, in Jason Clarke's Henry McLean, and then you got, what is her name? Carey Mulligan plays the role of Laura, who ends up marrying Henry. Henry actually has a younger brother who went to the war, and Garrett Hedlund, who was in Four Brothers, Tron, a lot of other great ones, Dead Sentence. He plays the role of Jamie. And it's crazy because when Jamie and Ronzel meet, they are already emotionally imbalanced from coming out of the war. You see some crazy, like, acts of violence in the sense of how dark war can be in the most smallest and simplistic moments. And they randomly come up because both of them are dealing with PTSD in a different way. Like, Ronzel's dealing with the shakes, uneasiness, unrest, and Jamie is just lost in his soul because he feels responsible for what happened. Like, he's drinking, he's taking drugs. This is a lot. But when they meet, they understand how much they need each other, and you get to understand why they can actually talk with each other, dealing after the fact of going through war. It's like war put them together, but the world that they came back to didn't catch up. And that's, to me, what the movie is all about, because it's like, oh my gosh. Henry goes and takes his family to this location to go and work off this farm. He takes his dad with him, takes his whole family, and things just go downhill from there because it's not what he thought. He gets swindled out of a couple different things. And the first thing that happens he has to ask this black family for help. And what the issue is, what begs into question is, even though slavery is not a factor anymore, people still think of, African American as somebody that can be a servant. Somebody that should, this without doubt, help just because they can. And this movie plays to that very strongly. The thing about it is that the family is so interesting because Joseph Morgan, he normally plays the role of Turk in the Marvel Netflix series, but he plays the role of Hop, who is actually a pastor and a dad of 4. And it's like, when you get to see what Hop really is going to and what he's trying to do and what he's trying to be for his family, as well as his wife and Mary J. Blige, Florence, it's just, they give so much, man. Like, to this family, to help them, to, try to survive. They work on the land, they do everything they're supposed to, but it's like, they're still fighting. And it's like, it's an unnecessary fight that they shouldn't have to fight. But it happens, and that's the reality of that era in Mississippi, post-war, World War II. And it's like, it's crazy because both of these men force these families to intertwine in certain different ways. I think that from an acting standpoint, I thought that Garrett Lowood and Jason Mitchell did great. I can understand why Mary J. Blige got a nomination or Golden Globe nomination, because, man, she looked and acted like Whoopi in her prime. Like, legit. Like, it wasn't just her being a diva. Like, she legit seemed like a mom. And, like, there was a moment where she went and helped the other family with the 2 girls. And I was just, like, questioning, like, should you do this? But then you get the understanding of her going back and talking about what her mom did for her and, like, why she questioned certain things her mom did. But she understood this is how we have to play this game so we can survive. And same exact thing happens to Hop in Rob Morgan's character. He does a really good job of breaking down, trying to be a man, but not feeling as though somebody owns you or you owe somebody to do something. And that is something that from back then, even hearing, conversations from my grandfather and other people, this is what the reality was, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't fair, it wasn't right. And towards the third act, there's some heinous things that happen, some messed up stuff. And you kind of see it coming. I think that's the anxiety of this film and the trauma of it, is that you see all these butting heads that are about to connect. And it's like, it's unavoidable. It's so unavoidable, but yet it shouldn't have happened. Certain circumstances in this movie, from a story standpoint, shouldn't have happened. It's sad, man. Like, you question, like, man, why did that have to happen? Why does this injustice or this feeling or this ego have to be apparent in this situation? Specifically for me, I felt like I felt bad for Laura, played by Carey Mulligan, and her children. I was just like, man, because there's a situation where she talks to this other, Caucasian lady that's also living on land, and they don't have anything. Like, they're literally living in the dirt. And, like, I was like, man, this could be you, in this situation. But I was torn. I went back and forth because as much as I can say that the black family gave so much, they did give more. There were other circumstances where, the brother gave to Raquel, where the mom, she, tended to the black family. And it's like, they had to try to make it because they're in the mud literally together. And I didn't think I would do this, but I'm gonna give this movie a 10 out of 10, man. This is a really good film. This is a really good film. It's hard to watch, but I personally haven't felt a movie like this has reached me since the 90s. There's been some movies in the 90s that really hit home for me personally, but this one took the cake. And I think that as far as acting concerned, any of these actors honestly could get nominated, in my personal opinion. I thought they all brought it. I thought Garrett, he did a great job. Even the dad that was played, his name is Pappy, but he was in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, is Jonathan Banks. And he was an evil somebody. Man, gosh, it was rough. But either way, it's just a bad circumstances, man. And it's just like, it felt so real that I was like, I don't know who did the script for this, but this seems legit like something that did or could have happened. This was directed by Dee Rees, female director. I think she wrote this too. Did she write it? Yep, she did the screenplay. She wrote it and directed it. I think that she did this movie called Para that I still have yet to see. I need to actually watch that because she did a live version. She also directed an episode of Empire, but she did her thing with this one. I would be surprised if she get like a director nod. If not, she should have from the jump. But this was a really good film, really good screenplay, very realistic, very visceral, and it just seems classic. I know it's on Netflix. I know it didn't go to the movie theaters, but this movie, to me, feels like a classic. And that's hard to beat, in my personal opinion. This would have been a part of my top 10 for sure. But I got to go. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't going to stop. I got maybe one more review to give you guys. If I do this, I'll time your review. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it yet. Peace, guys.